Good afternoon, good morning. It's probably not evening anywhere just yet, but I could be wrong. Welcome to today's YouTube live stream on Sahaja Yoga meditation. And today's focus is to use the various Sahaja Yoga meditation techniques available to us for self-diagnosis of the internal spiritual system that we are trying to explore. So this inner spiritual system that we have been talking about, discussing, exploring, call it whatever you might, it seems a little bit abstract at times, right? We talk about it, but then what brings it home for all of us is the fact that we can actually feel the presence of this system. We can correlate it to our emotions, our inner state. Somebody had once told me, and he happens to be a doctor, was that modern medicine is really good for us when we break an arm or a leg, or of course, if we have a viral situation. We don't have a vaccine for the COVID virus just yet, but I'm sure the smartest minds in the world will find one. But where modern medicine tends to find a little bit of a barrier is the ability to make us feel better. So we go to the doctor. I broke my kneecap recently, and I went straight to the hospital. And the folks were great there, took care of me. The surgeon sewed up my kneecap. But when I'm trying to feel better, and this was the comment, I'm paraphrasing, when I'm trying to feel better, I go to the barber. And the barber helps me feel better. He tells me stories, he talks about my health, he gives me a new hairdo, he makes me feel better. And here, with Sahaja Yoga meditation, we are trying to achieve a more holistic sense of well-being at a time when health is top of mind for billions of people all around the world. Unless I've been living under a rock, and probably even if I had been living under a rock, I would have known that the world is in lockdown. And at this point in time, most of us are either working from home. We are affected in one form or fashion. In some form or fashion, we are affected by probably the greatest lockdown in the last 100 years. And at this time, more than ever, we need ways to not only build inner forms of resilience, but also to make ourselves feel better. And that may not always be easy. So meditation comes to the rescue. And I say that not in a flippant manner, but as someone who has been practicing Sahaja Yoga meditation for about a couple of decades, it took me a while. I have to say I've been a slow learner. It took me a while to figure out what exactly is this inner spiritual system. People were telling me about vibrations, and I couldn't quite wrap my head around it for a little while. But then once it started to dawn upon me, I realized the power of this platform. Call it a system, call it a platform. This gift that Shri Mataji, Nirmala Devi, the photograph, the founder of this form of meditation, who you see in this photograph, she traveled the world extensively from 1970 all the way till the 21st century. She passed away in 2011. But by that point, hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people had been touched by the power of this system of information, this system of knowledge that seemed so inscrutable for so long. But Shri Mataji had that ability to demystify and make it accessible. And access is what we are trying to achieve here. So without much further ado, I think what we can do is let's get ourselves limbered up. So if we were going out for a walk, if we were going out to play a game of tennis, we would probably warm ourselves up. in the context of meditation, we are not going to warm ourselves up, but nonetheless, we'll try to get ourselves ready for meditation. So let's pay attention to ourselves. Let's be mindful of where we are. Let's make sure that we are comfortable without being, let's say, indulgent. So we want to keep the back straight, because the flow of this energy, we talk about the flow of this Kundalini energy, and the energy flows along the central axis of the body through the nervous system. So if we keep the back straight, that does help. But we also don't want to get ourselves rigid. So we want to keep the back comfortable and straight. And we want to keep the hands open and loosely placed on the lap. Our hands are really, really important compasses. They are our navigation tools in this journey of self-exploration. So we pay special attention to our hands. Let's take a few moments to breathe. The entire world is in the grip of this unprecedented situation, a pandemic. At this point in time, we have the opportunity to learn more about ourselves, to feel better about ourselves, and maybe to even boost our sense of inner resilience. So let's take this opportunity with a sense of humility and a sense of gratitude. There may be many, many others who are not as fortunate as we are, but perhaps, just perhaps, we can empower ourselves. We can become stronger in the knowledge of our own spiritual energy, and we could impart that strength, that peace, to many others who are suffering in our community, our nation, and the entire world. As we breathe, let's make sure that we breathe in through both nostrils and we exhale in equal measure. Equilibrium, balance is so vital for our health, both the physical health, for emotional health, and spiritual health. Let's pay attention to how we are feeling on our hands. We may feel a tingling sensation on some of the fingertips. We may feel a warm sensation on one hand, which then shifts to the other. At this point, we do not need to analyze. Sahaja, the word loosely means easy. Let's just take it easy and learn to observe. Observe our emotions. Observe the collage of impressions that fly by the mind's eye. and observe what we are feeling on our hands, at the tips of our fingers. We can take the right hand to the heart and recognize that meditation is an exercise in honesty. In this form of Sahaja Yoga meditation, there is no external agent or a third party that is impressing a certain state upon me. So I am inquiring about myself. I am expressing my desire to feel spiritual wellness, to realize the peace of my spirit. And it is this desire that triggers the flow of my Kundalini. This hypothesis being true for anyone.
In doing so, so many mistakes have been there before, and some people have done it deliberately. Some are misguided and some are doing it deliberately. Net result is just the same. Even if you give poison to someone by mistake or in a misguided way, the result is the same. In the same way, whether you are misguided or whether you do it deliberately, whatever is wrong has an effect on the Kundalini. Now the Aquarian age is the word I picked up from Dr. Warren, which is so true today. Aquarian means the water carrier, and in Sanskrit language it is called as Kumbha. Kumbha is the one what we call the Kundalini. The Muladhara is the Kumbha, where the Kundalini is there, the power of Kundalini is there. So to call it an Aquarian age must be some work of some realized soul who could see that in this age the Kundalini is going to be awakened, and that an age will start of people getting their Kundalini awakened. Now I have already talked to you the other day about this second center, which is called as Swadhisthana, which gives us our sustenance and also our power to create. The sustenance is created inside that green part, which is represented by main 10 primordial masters. And these 10 primordial masters had another series of masters who were called as disciple principles. Now about these people I have talked to you last time. But today I would like to speak to you about other centers, especially this Nabhi, which is the navel center, which is very important in human beings. This is the center by which we seek. When in amoeba stage, we seek food. At a higher level, we start seeking heights. Like when they became mammoth and all these animals, they wanted to have a height, to go over the trees, to be able to master them and to eat the leaves. But they became so much outsized with their height that they had to become smaller animals, like say intelligent animals, and like say cats and things like that, cat family. And this is how the evolution has been brought forth through our seeking as amoeba, then as animals, and now as human beings. As we have evolved higher and higher, we have become subtler and subtler in our seeking. For example, the people who are seeking, say, power, are not so evolved as people who are seeking their spirit, no doubt about it. Because you have gone through that, you have had enough of it. Maybe last lives you might have been kings and queens, and you must have seen all the jokes of it. So you said, now it's had enough of it, this power business. We don't want to have any more. Such a headache we don't want to have. So the people who are seeking money also are the people who have had enough of it and they were fed up of it. So they said, now we have had it. So now you are seekers of something beyond. It has been always so, something beyond we seek. But this seeking beyond is not described to so many people, and they are not able to understand what is the beyond. That's why this center is very important of your evolutionary process. Now, first of all, as I have told you, that we have to be in balance. That's one thing we must have, is the balance in life. I mean, in common sense also we can see, supposing there's a car going only on one wheel, how many would like to travel by that? Anything that you do in life has to have a balance. Otherwise, anything, even catching something, holding something, or small things, even riding a bicycle, you know that you have to have a balance. So if the Kundalini has to move, you have to be a balanced personality, a personality with a temperate nature, and must have a balanced attitude towards life. That is very important. But in case it is not, you can be sucked into the central path of the Sushumna, in the central path of your evolution. Now the evolution takes place by remaining in the central path. Those who go to the extremes fall out of this. Now the virus that we suffer from very commonly is nothing but a kind of a vegetable which is fallen out of evolution. Now the vegetable that we call as tobacco is going to fall out of complete evolution, and you will be surprised after some years you will not find any tobacco growing anywhere because it will go out of evolution. Thanks to human beings that they misunderstood the role of tobacco. Tobacco is an insecticide, is to be used for killing the insects and not to kill yourself. But we sometimes forget that whatever God has created for the good, sometimes we can use it for our destruction.
So that was Shri Mataji explaining the concept of balance. This is back in Sydney. It was actually March of 1981. The world is a different place, March of 2020. But some of those fundamentals, some of those challenges remain the same. We are today facing a different set of challenges. I will explain my own scenario. I'm working from home. It's been 3 weeks now that I've been working from home. I work for a global technology business. There can be meetings first thing in the morning, 7 in the morning. There can be meetings late in the evening. And meetings are interesting enough, but there can be technical issues, there can be different kinds of stresses. There's kids at home. So I have young kids at home who are also on their own devices and online platforms. And any time where we have a certain mental construct of how we want the world to be, how organized and neat and productive and efficient we want it to be, and the reality does not necessarily meet that vision that we have stress. It can result in gnashing of the teeth, or it can result in a general breakdown. So we try to get over that with various techniques of Sahaja Yoga meditation. We have talked a little bit about the effect of the element of fire, the light on the left side of the spiritual system. And we've talked about how candles both on the altar that we place, we have the candle right in front of the photograph of Shri Mataji, and we can also use the candle to work on our left system. So essentially what we are trying to do is that if there is a disturbance on our left side of the spiritual system, our feminine side, our emotional side, then that element of fire, that element of light helps to dispel that negative aspect, those negative emotions. And then when we are feeling agitated, so the other side, the masculine side is trying to get things done, to impart, to impress, influence, and there may be barriers. So when the psyche or the attention hits barriers, when we face friction, there is development of heat. So again, going back to the electronics of Sahaja Yoga meditation, we have cool and light is a state of Zen, and we have hot and bothered is not so good. So we want to let go of that heat. We want to be feeling light. So we can use the fire, which is interesting. We use the element of fire, the candles, to bring back the cool on the emotional side. And we can use a simple walk on the grass to cool down the masculine, the right side. Now that we have taken a walk, we've allowed ourselves to de-stress, we are feeling a lot better. What's next? I can tell you that the beauty of it all is this live stream ends and we can go back to life as usual. We can completely forget about it. It is entirely our choice. I can forget that I ever meditated. I can switch on TV and completely lose myself in 4 hours of binge watching on Netflix. That is entirely my choice. However, if I want to go further, there is literally an infinite journey ahead of me, and there is an infinite journey ahead of all of us. There is this incredible reservoir of energy and capability that is locked up within each one of us. And I am fascinated, I'm excited by that potential, by that possibility. For one, I definitely want to continue that journey, and I'd love to have your company on that journey, because the more the merrier. This is something that I've found consistently true in all my experiences of Sahaja Yoga meditation in 2 decades, is that when we meditate together, meditation together is magical. Meditating on my own time by myself is great, it's essential, but an integral part of this journey is to be together, is to meditate in groups, whether it's a virtual group or it's a group in person. And I certainly want your company on this journey. We have a number of resources. I encourage you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. That helps you to stay aware of when the live stream is and other publications on the channel. Feel free to share, like, and if you notice the description section, you'll find the website freemeditation.com.au, which has a lot of interesting resources that you can refer when you're trying to understand various aspects of Sahaja Yoga meditation at home, at work, on the go. Once again, thank you for joining this session, and feel free to sign in. Like I mentioned, please feel free to share the channel, and we'll see you again next Sunday.